Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I decided to make a live video instead of making a normal video and editing it, because obviously it's taking a lot of time, and sometimes when I do not have time to do it, then the video stays for a very long time. And this particular video is something that I really want to do because I promised I was going to do it in bits, and people have been asking for the second and the third video. So guys, today we're going to be talking about an asylum seeker who is seeking for protection as a refugee. Who is the other video we talked about asylum seekers who are seeking protection from the government and how they should go about it. So if you have not watched that video is down there. It's titled part 1. So this video is like part 2 of that particular video. So if you are seeking asylum as a refugee, so you have to, okay, it starts by you coming to Deutschland or planning to come here to seek for protection. So why are you seeking protection? The reason why you are seeking protection is actually the reason determines the type of protection that you are going to apply for. So if you are looking for political protection, that means how to apply for political asylum. So, but today I'm going to be talking about seeking for protection as a refugee. So why? What are the reasons? What are the reasons that can make you seek for protection as a refugee? First of all, you can seek as a if someone that has hunger, someone that has problem with his or family, someone that has age group problem, gender problem, health issue. When you are sick and the medication or the proper treatment is not available in your country, you can also seek asylum in Germany, but a protection that makes you to become a refugee. Okay, so the type of document that is given to those kind of people. So this refugee of a thing is one of the simple ones that, okay guys, give me a minute, somebody is at the door. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody was at the door, so I just opened the door to let the person in. So as I was saying, if you decided, or if your reason for seeking for protection is hunger, is gender problem, health issue, when you go to seek for the asylum or look for the apply for it, to register or apply for it, you need to specify this. You need to tell them that I am not seeking for um, a protection against the government, that you are seeking for protection because you are sick or because you have gender problem. In countries where same-sex marriage is not allowed and things like that. So if you find yourself in that situation and you have evidence, you can also use this to seek asylum. So you're not going to be a political asylum seeker. You're going to be seeking for protection for this, for as a refugee. You're seeking for protection as a refugee. So these are the things that you can use: sickness, you can use gender, you can use problems between you and your family, your parents, community. Things like that are the things that you can use to do for protection as a refugee. And when you go for the registration, it is very, very important that you specify these things there. Okay, you tell them that this is the reason why you are here. And when you start to talk to them about it, do not lie about your documentation, especially for those of you who came here with flight, who came here with visa. You don't need to change your date of birth. You don't need to change your main data, your name, your date of birth. Those are the things that are very, very difficult. Once you get your documentation, Because sometimes as a refugee, when a document is given it to you, when German government wants to give you a document, they will ask you to go and bring your home country passport. And if you have changed all these things on your country's passport, that means you will have issues. You will have issues getting a new passport. So, and when you go for your another aspect that I want to talk about is how you package your stories. If you are seeking for asylum, if you are seeking for protection against the government, let your story and your evidence be on that. If you are seeking for protection for as a refugee, you are running away because of sickness, because you don't have a proper treatment in your home country and you need help, then formulate your story. Let your story based on this. Do not join a political asylum seeker story, then you join the two together. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. They will be confused and they will not know. Say, okay, sometimes it goes, those, if you are lucky or if you meet nice people, your story goes in stages. Sometimes they look at it, okay, should we give this person political asylum? Yeah, part of the story is based on politics, and then part of it is based on as a refugee and all that. So sometimes they take time to consider if you fall in the first, second, or third category as a humanitarian asylum seeker. So, but if you are in a land crisis or at a place where they do not have time to go through all those processes, so they will just give you rejection immediately because your story is confusing. So make sure that you write your stories in a way that it will be easy for you to tell. You must not put all the dates. If you know you're not going to be able to remember the dates, you're not going to be able to remember some certain names, cut the story short. The shorter, the better for you, so that when they call you again, just there are people who went for first interview, second interview, third interview, and sometimes when you are given some particular paper's document that German government will give to you, then when you want to go and renew it, when it is time for you to renew it, they will still ask you some stories, or sometimes they call you and ask you, okay, 3 years ago you said this and you said that, can you still tell us that story again? And if you are somebody who did not put your stories very well, if you are somebody who took so much, you know, you just said stories that lasted for 3 hours, 4 hours. Sometimes after some years, you forget some of those things, forget some of those dates. Yes, it's a personal thing, but as we grow, we tend to forget so many things. So if you're that kind of person, don't do it, because once you are called after 5 years or after 8 years to come and repeat the same story, you won't be able to repeat the same story. So it is better to keep the story short and simple. Short and simple. And sometimes you will start asking yourself, how do you fit in this information, so many information into the story to make it, to be able to present it? Write it down, write your story down. Don't wait until you are called for interview before you start writing your stories. That it is your stories and you have to write it down. And sometimes go ahead and send these stories to other people to read, to review. If this story is okay, if this story is not okay, if it's your story, but people have to check. Like, if you write a story, if you write your asylum story and send it to me, I'm going to be reviewing it not as your friend. I'm going to review that story as someone who does not know you, who does not have the same culture with you. Okay, so when I look at it that way, and as someone who is trained, like psychologically trained to interview asylum seekers, how are you going to be? The person is going to be seeing it from another perspective, another place entirely. So I'm going to review it that way and tell you, girl, this thing that you wrote, how, if I tell you this story, are you going to believe me? So tell your story the way it will be real. It is your story. Tell it in a way that it will be real. So, and when you tell your story, tell it in a way that when you are called in the next 10 years to repeat the same story, you are able to repeat the same story. Another thing is that when you go for this kind of, especially when you are seeking for political asylum, I think, it's not even I think, the stories are not too long. Okay, but when you seek gender, sickness, things like that as asylum, when you use all these reasons to seek asylum, you just know that maybe you have to tell stories, especially if it has to do with gender. Maybe you have suffered for a very long time, you have suffered for years, publicly or in your friend circle or your family. So these things take time. So minimize the date, minimize the names that you use. You can use 3, 4 names that are very, very close to you, things that you know you can remember in the next 10 years. Use those things that happen to you along the way, that you know that in the next 5 years, 10 years, you forget these things, you forget how they happened. Do not use such, because it will not do what? You will not be able to remember it years to come. Another thing is that if you are seeking for protection as a refugee and you are seeking on health ground, make sure that you bring your hospital, your medical reports. If you have access to medical reports, for those who suffers from sicknesses like depression and things like that, and you have tried, people that suffer from psychological problems, get report from a psychologist from your country, so that when you go for the interview, you are able to present it to them. And sometimes when you come to Germany, go straight, look for help, go to psychiatric hospitals to take medicine, to continue your medication until the day of your interview. Because for those who suffer from depression, first thing that when you go there, they will ask you for medical report, they will ask you for the tablet that you have been taking, they will ask you if the tablets are helping you, and then they will go ahead and check in your country if those medication they are giving to you, those therapies through, if those things are accessible in your country. If those things are not accessible in your country, they will allow you to stay. So guys, that is it about refugees. So this is the part 2. This one is seeking for protection as a refugee. So you're not going to be on a political asylum seeker. And once you are given a document as a refugee, sometimes you take, majority of the documents you take with your country passport, and they don't give you ultimatum and say when you get, once someone gets depressed and somebody have psychological problem, it's not something that they treat and then it goes away in 3 years or 4 years. Unlike the political asylum, when they would say, okay, when the political problem, instability settles, everybody is allowed to go back to their country. But in the case of refugee, as an asylum seeker, as a refugee, it doesn't happen that way. So they give you longer time. Yes, in some cases, you have a longer time to also apply for permanent residence permit, but there are always requirements that you can meet, maybe going to learn Dutch, German language, going to learn a little about the basic politics about living in Deutschland, then making an Ausbildung, learning something. Integration. Once you integrated, then they tell you, okay, after 3 years or 4 years, you can come for a permanent residence permit. So, but in as much as you live in Deutschland and you have any kind of residence permit, temporary residence permit, there's always a possibility to make them a permanent resident permit. And in fact, in so many cases, you can also become a Dutchian. You know, you can also, as well, when you have all the requirements stayed for some years, you can as well get a German passport. Okay, so these are the things that you should consider if you are seeking asylum as a refugee. Please do not mix things up. Even from the time that you go for your asylum, do not go for your registration. Make sure that you specify the reason why you are here. Do not lie about your age. Do not lie about your country, because these are the things that will complicate issue and make life very, very miserable for you at the end of the whole issue. Because asylum process, whether good or bad, it will come to an end. But the most important thing is always the life after. You know, when I tell people that sometimes we focus and we give so much energy, we put so much energy, so much resources in getting the documents, and then we totally forget. Like, you forget that after you get your documentation, after you get to stay, that you still have another life to live. You still have like 50, 60, 70. If you want to even live like 1,000 years, you still have that life to live. So what happened? So the issue, okay, guys, this video is getting long. It's 15 minutes. So I'm going to end this live stream right now. And then I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope this video is helpful to you. I'm going to do another live video to talk about generally on the things that you should avoid as an asylum seeker, the things that you never do as an asylum seeker, the things that you should think about even as an asylum seeker. Okay, thank you so much, guys, and see you in my next live stream or video. If I have the time enough, I can as well make a video and edit and throw it in here. Thank you so much. And if you are one of my followers, subscribers, and you need information like this, guys, do not forget to share. Do not forget to like. Do not forget to comment if you have any question, ask. And if you are looking for kind of information that you want me to also find about or talk about, let me know. I will go ahead and look for such information for you. Thank you so much, and see you in my next video. Bye bye.